Hello, everybody. How are y'all this evening? I hope y'all had an awesome day. Mine went pretty well, good and busy at work, which, excuse me, I've been drinking coffee, uh, which is good. It's much better than not being busy, makes the day take forever. I see we're all here. Muse, Tamara, Jesse, JoJo, Rob, Elizabeth, Pete, Undecided, Redtail, Gypsy, Laura, Redtail, Easy, Undecided, Rob, Charles, Skydiver Tanner, Will, Donna, Laura again, Muse again, Rob, Undecided again, Redtail, Elizabeth. Thank y'all all for, and Donna, thank y'all all for coming this evening. Um, I hope we have a good one that y'all are going to enjoy. Um, Today I was sort of searching the interwebs, and I was searching for protection order, and I came up with this lady who's her husband's going for a protection order against her. We got like 3 or 4 cases, and I'm just covering the stuff that happened in 2015. There's stuff that happened in 2014. There's stuff that happened in the years after. So it's I'm sort of I'm in on it. It's pretty decent. Exactly who's right and who's wrong, I ain't figured it out yet. I watched some of the video, but not enough to know for sure. So let's give it a watch.
Because I'm missing a case manager and I need to find her.
All right, Guider, Hubble, come on back up.
That's the mother in the green, and the father there in sort of a burgundy shirt. He's missing his left
Your
arm.
Honor, while we've been sitting, I do just have two concerns, and I understand if Your Honor's already made up your mind about this, but just two main reasons why I do feel like it's important to order it today. The first is our trial is the first time we're establishing a parenting plan. It's a best interest standard. One of the factors that we're supposed to be showing is mental health. I mean, that's one of the factors we're supposed to be showing, and I really do think it's important to the father meeting his burden for us to have some evidence of that.
I'm not going to order today. And even if I order today, I don't think that we would get it done in time by today.
Okay.
So I appreciate the argument, but I'm not going to order today. Let me hear quickly from Ms. Smith as to the issues of concern. And if I don't want to rush anyone, but if we could make it just to the issue of the safety of the child from the mother's house for the next 3 weeks and why it's not safe for the mother. I don't hear everything about all the other issues that I'm going to have to hear on April 27th and 20th. I just want to hear that one issue today, why it's not safe between now and 3 weeks from now for the child to be at the mother's house. Come on up, Ms. Smith, and just tell me in your words what's going on at the house and why you don't think it. You can have a seat. How about you can have a seat, please.
DCS did a home study at her house.
Okay.
And DCS recommendation at the end of the day was that the mom receive homemaker services for her home because there are rooms in the house that cannot be accessed due to clutter. I have pictures, but my thing died over there because we've been.
Oh, sorry.
And then the other aspect of that was the DCS was going to ask her to complete a mental health assessment due to the fact that when DCS was involved previous, we asked her to clean the house then too. And homemaker services were not given because Ms. Hubble said that she was going to clean the home. At that time, there were only 2 rooms that couldn't be accessed in the house. At this time, the only room that's probably accessible in the house is in the living room where there is a bed and there's clutter around there too. And maybe pieces of the kitchen. And so where DCS was, I can't make her. I can't say your child can't sleep in a bed with you in a living room. But what I can say is that it's not safe in the environment around for your child to live. Ms. Hubble said that they spend most of their time in the places that were, I guess, quote unquote, not really cluttered, but I would really have to show you the pictures. And if that's the case, then that's fine, but we can't prove that at all. So, we were gonna ask her or require her to do, comply with homemaker services and to get a mental health assessment, do, and a parenting assessment, which is what they told me to allow her to do.
Okay. And so based on the clutter and the issues in the house, you just don't, DCS at this point does not feel that it would be safe for the child to spend the night or spend any time at the house?
No, she,
Let's see. Say hello to Maya and Izza. That's awesome. That is so cool. Hi, y'all. I hope y'all are having fun.
from my understanding, when I got involved, originally she wasn't letting us in at all. Then when I got in, I was just like, okay. The child was going from her house to Sanan's house, and I don't know how often the child was going back from those houses, but at that point she had agreed to leave the child at Sanan's house, and that she would get the child, they would alter or figure out when she could get the child. As it stands now, from my understanding, the child spends time with his mom, and the child spends time with his dad. As far as long term, no, that house needs to be cleaned. As far as short term, yes, because the child's not there 100% of the time.
So tell me, like, is she okay to stay there for during the whole week, or just for the weekend, or just for a day?
See,
From DCS's
from
perspective.
DCS standpoint, she's gonna have to clean her house, period. But where it was I think that she was spending 3 days there, and then she was going to his house. I don't know.
There's 4 nights here and 3. He has 3 overnights during the week, and I have.
Your Honor, I object to Ms. Hubble interrupting
Yeah,
the witness.
I'm gonna let you to respond in just a second, but what from DCS perspective, safety wise for the child, is it safe for her to spend the night at the mother's house?
At a night, yes.
Just a night, not a week.
No.
Laura, thanks for the memberships. That's nice of you. I sure do appreciate it.
Not 2 days.
Yes.
2 days, but no more than a week.
I think that the house needs to be clean.
Okay.
But does
If she's there for
where
a short
she
period
sleeps,
of time, she's okay.
Is it hazardous where she sleeps on that bed where it is? No.
Okay. All right. So this is what I'm gonna do. I appreciate everybody and what y'all going to say. I'm gonna order that between now and the time we come back to court, that the child remain with Mr. Guider, that Ms. Hubble have weekend visitation at her house. Ms. Hubble, you need to clean your house up.
Georgia Peach, thanks for the gifted membership. That's nice of you. I sure do appreciate it.
So that between the next time that we come here, that things are clean. So I am changing visitation for now. I will be back on April the 27th and 28th. I will address it at that time. But for right now, the child will remain with the father during the day, or during the week, and then at the mother's house on the weekends. That would be the court's order.
Every weekend, Your Honor?
It's announced in the next court date, yes.
And is that overnights as well on the weekends?
Yes.
And just after school on Friday?
Yes.
Until
6 o'clock on Sunday.
Please.
So I'll be getting her after school on Friday till 6 o'clock Sunday. He has her 6 o'clock Sunday till Friday at 3.
Correct.
Okay.
All right, we'll see y'all back
thank you.
I think she said until Friday at 3. Yeah.
after school.
After school.
So I get her after school
Yes.
till 6 o'clock Sunday, and he's got her the rest of the day.
Yeah. That is
And just so we could be clear as to where the child will be dropped off, because we usually have this issue, are the parents okay with, the father is okay with dropping the child off to the mother's home?
I usually meet, I'll meet her. I'll meet him.
Because I just don't want any
I'll get her
issues over
from
the next
school-
3 weeks.
I'll get her from school on Friday.
Okay.
And then I'll meet him at 6 o'clock on Sunday night.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm sorry, is Your Honor doing an order? for-
If you could do an order on that, I appreciate that.
Including
all the other issues
trial
will-
date?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Hubble, before you leave, let me just suggest that it may be behoove you to consider if Mr. Guider's going to do the parent assessment. It may behoove you to consider it as well. I'm not ordering you to do so, but it may be something that if you have got nothing to hide and something to prove to them that there's absolutely nothing wrong with you, there would be absolutely no reason to have a parent. So I'm just putting that in your spirit. You pray on that, you think about it, and then we'll do it on April 27th. See what we need to do.
Can I bring Delara in on the 27th so you can meet her or can you talk to her in chambers? Because I think if you're making a decision, I think you should.
How old is?
She's 6.5. She's
probably not. Her preference is not. I can't consider her preference under the age of 12. I don't think it's always very helpful for children to come and talk. But she has a guardian ad litem who. That's the reason why we have guardian ad litem. That's also the reason we have CASA, because that is what their main goal and objective is, to present what's in the best interest of your child, and so they will tell me what her concerns and wishes are through their witnesses that they call.
Can they talk to? Do I need to bring my? I'm trying to not say anything about Delara's dad, and I'm trying to not inconvenience my friends to bring them into court. So
if you want me to consider why I shouldn't be able to give you more time, why I should let her stay at your house, why I should let her go to homeschool. Whatever it is that you want me to consider, you need to make sure that you bring witnesses to consider that. I can tell you that Ms. Rice will have all the witnesses that she's prepared to bring to prove otherwise, and so you need to make sure that you're prepared as well.
When we do the discovery, is like the stuff we've already done before, like for the first, is that still good? And then I just like the 10 days before give my.
Correct. You're certificate
So by 10 days before, I have to have her know who all my witnesses are and
correct.
But anything I've already, I don't have to give her duplicates of what I didn't use at the other time, or as long as she
already has it.
Okay, thanks.
Yana, before everybody leaves, I was over in Magistrate Calhoun.
I'm sorry, Ms. Mitchell. I apologize.
So we were prepared to ask that Delara be assessed for therapy, because the back and forth and things that have been said to her. The CASA volunteer did get a chance to speak with the school, and some things were concerning.
Do they have in-base school therapy that you would like to refer her to?
Somewhere of the parents choosing.
Okay. Any objection, Ms. Hubble?
I don't think it's I think the CASA and the guardian ad litem should be enough.
No, that they don't provide therapy. They provide application.
I think she needs, Your Honor. I met with the school representatives and they recommend the child get therapy.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. I will do a recommendation for therapy for the child.
But if we could have mom involved with any decisions that are made, as she be communicated that when that decision is made, because I think that mom is surprised that something like that was sought and she didn't know about it. So just to alleviate the issues.
Absolutely. Mother definitely has to be made aware of any issues, any therapy, any questions. But yes, I'm going to do a referral for services, for therapeutic services for the mother. Would that y'all like that to come through DCS or through the school?
Therapeutic services for the child.
You mean a private provider?
Yeah, I have.
That goes
She's
with her
on my
insurance?
insurance, Your Honor.
Okay. If you will make sure that you communicate with Ms. Hubble, who you're referring it to and where it's going to go.
Yeah, and both of them would need to do the intake, so she would get information from
Absolutely.
the therapist.
And Ms.
You're gonna arrange all that?
We already have a therapist. I mean, we went and we have an appointment tomorrow.
Thank you all. All right, bringing the last but not least, Kelsey Barnes.
Okay, so that's the first one that happened in early April. This is the next case. I think this was June 15th, if I remember right. There was some court between that first one and this one, but I've not been able to find it. The father is asking for a protection order against the mother. Yeah, this is where it gets hot. Let's just say that judge does not have much patience at all.
Counsel, you're gonna need to do this. I don't know what any of this means, so you better ask him some questions about this, or we're wasting our time.
And I don't have a copy of that yet. Can I see what that is?
All right, well, I guess we better move on to something else. Do
Yes,
you have a recorded
same father.
version of one of these telephone calls?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, how long ago was the telephone call
This is-
fixing to play?
This is the night that I called the police, and
I don't know when that night was.
May 31st, Your Honor.
May 31st of this year.
Yes.
All right, what time did the call come in?
I was supposed to pick up the child
I
at
don't know what time you're supposed to pick up.
around
There's
6
a clock or what?
6:15
Do you keep up with time at all?
6:15 p.m. around.
Pardon me?
6:15 p.m.
Approximately 6:15
6:20 p.m. Yes.
Right. And what was the subject of the call? I'm gonna let you tell me about it, and then I want to hear it, okay?
We have a temporary arrangement. I mean, court order. Child stays with me Sunday evening through Friday afternoon, and she spends the weekends with her mother. And Miss Hubble is not happy with that arrangement, and she was complaining about it.
Now, you're saying you get the child when Sunday?
Sunday from 6 p.m. until Friday 3 p.m.
So you get the child almost a whole week?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that all the time, or just every other week?
All the time. We have a temporary.
That's back to that order we watched just a second ago.
So you got basically temporary possession of the child?
Yes, she has the visitation. This is the court order, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. So, what is she saying in her phone call?
I signed up the child for a summer camp, and she was yelling at me while the child was in the car with her. And this protection will serve for the child as well, Your Honor, because she constantly yells, screams at me, whether the child is there or not. I'm sure child is being impacted.
All right, you want to play your tape?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, go to the beginning of it. I don't want you to start something in the middle.
Your Honor, this is the beginning because once I realized she was being like that, I
If
just
it's
started.
the beginning, then get back to the beginning and we'll try to listen to it.
Okay. That's all, Your Honor. I
right.
realized she was yelling at me. I just pick up my recorder.
Well, just wondering, and how much time do you plan to allow me to spend with my daughter? You know, you have to ask the judge. I asked
No, I'm asking you. I am trying to communicate with you.
Well,
Answer my question. How much time do you plan to give me to exercise my parental right to choose how much time do you want to give me?
If I'm here. Okay, and what is the subject of what she's talking about in this phone call?
I signed up.
It sounds like she understands what the order is, and she's trying to circumvent the court to get the time with the child by bullying the father, which that doesn't sound good. I mean, the child's got to be there somewhere. I hope the child isn't hearing that, but he's supposed to do what the court told him to do.
Child for the summer school at Ainsworth. It was a tennis and swimming in the afternoon.
Now, the parenting arrangement that you just described to the judge, where you have the child from Sunday through Friday,
Yes.
that was ordered by the judge in juvenile court. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And was it also ordered by the judge in juvenile court that you would be allowed to sign the child up for summer camp?
Thanks, Foxtrot. Yeah, not many people are going to get that one, but yeah, I can see that, or I can hear that. Credence and Mikey, how you doing? Yeah, she's it's kind of interesting. It kind of builds on you. She seems real nice and normal, and I still could be wrong. Maybe she's the best woman in the world, but it starts building in the little bit I've watched.
I was told I can put child in a school or because child is with me and mother has visitation.
And when we were there for the last day of trial a couple weeks ago, did you specifically ask the judge whether you would be allowed to send the child to summer camp?
I don't remember, but I spoke with you on that, and you told me that I mean, we have the court order here, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yes.
And the judge, to your knowledge, the trial is still pending. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
So that was just a clarifying question that you had asked the judge about whether you were allowed to do that. Is that correct?
I don't recall, but I specifically said she's not going to change the visitation because she hasn't heard anything about the Miss Hubble's home. I don't want to go into that, but that was the conditions in the house, Your Honor.
All right, let's talk about this exchange of
Thanks,
the
Jojo.
child. The warrant says 6/31/15. I'm assuming that means 5/31/15. Did y'all exchange the child on 5/31/15?
It should be 6:30 time.
It should be what?
6:30, around 6:30
The
p.m.
date.
All right,
What
listen
the
to
date?
me. It says 6/31/15, June the 31st, 2015. Now, we haven't even gotten to that part of the month.
Yes.
Did y'all exchange the child on May the 31st?
Yes, Your Honor.
What day of the week would that have been?
Sunday.
A Sunday?
Yes, Your Honor.
And on that Sunday, were you going to exchange the child as usual?
Yes.
And did Ms. Hubble start asking you questions?
Miss
All right,
Hubble-
May 31st is a Sunday. All right, go on.
What happened, it was raining. Usually Miss Hubble gets out of her car and starts yelling at me. But it was raining. This time she calls me from her car. This is on West End, Dairy Queen parking lot. I'm sitting in my car. She's sitting on the other side.
understand.
And
Tell
she
me what
called me,
happened.
and this call is recorded. And the next day is the 1st of the month. I have the check in my pocket. I'm planning to give her a check because I'm not gonna see her next day. And she gets out after this call is over. She starts yelling at me. Because I know this is the kind of conversation.
All
Is
right,
not
let's go on. I understand y'all.
okay.
Move on.
I'm recording, and she starts yelling at me again. And she asked me if I recorded the phone call. I said yeah. And I said I'm recording this too. Then she stops. She becomes polite.
All right, counsel, you need to move this along. I need to hear
Yes,
what
Your Honor.
took
Okay.
place.
Okay, what was the
See, I told you this judge ain't got patience on either side. They got to get with it. He's busy, got more stuff to do.
topic of conversation she was
About complaining about the child going to summer school.
Okay.
Summer camp.
Was she asking you for child support at that
No,
point?
she didn't ask me child support.
Okay.
Th-
And
Thanks, Carrie.
at that point in time, did you leave the situation?
Yes, I left.
Did she communicate to you that she was going to follow you to your house?
She calls me and she said she wants her child support. I tell her the child support is
All
good.
right, I don't care what you told her, but did she was demanding the child support. Your lawyer asked you, did she say she was coming to your home?
Yes, she did.
Okay. Did you then go home at that point?
I told her don't come to my house. I'll call the police if she comes.
Where did you go instead?
I spent 2 hours around West Nashville.
And after you'd been gone for about 2 hours, did you then go home?
Yes, around 8:30 p.m. I drove close to my house. I saw Miss Hubble's car sitting in front of my house. Then I pulled back and parked at the side street, and I called Metro Police for an escort.
And did you ask them to escort you into the home?
Yes, I did.
Did they immediately come to do that?
No, they didn't come.
How long did you wait there for them to
I
come?
waited with the child in my car for over an hour.
At that point in time, did you decide to go into the home?
Yes, Metro dispatcher calls me back because I kept calling them. I have a child in
All right, let's get to where something
Okay.
happened.
Did you decide to go into the home?
Yes, they said they cannot send somebody
All
at
right,
that time.
sir,
I'm sorry.
pay attention. This is your lawyer. She's very good.
Okay, sir.
You need to listen to her and answer her questions
Okay.
because she knows where she's going with this. Stop trying to be your own lawyer and let her do the work. Go on, counsel.
You went into the home.
Yes.
What happened then?
Then I was afraid she would come after me, so I went in, closed the garage door quickly.
Did she see that you had gone into the home?
I believe she did.
Did she start trying to ring your doorbell?
What is the question?
Did she start trying to ring your doorbell?
Yes, she rang my doorbell.
And was she pounding on your door?
She started pounding on my door.
At some point in time, did she go behind the back of your house?
Yes, she started knocking my back door, then went through my bedroom windows, knocking on every window.
So she was knocking on all the windows in the back of your home.
Yes.
Was the child
Thanks, Eugenie. I sure do appreciate it. Hope you're having a good one.
with you at the time?
Yes, child was afraid too.
Did the child start crying?
At one time when she started yelling and screaming, then child started crying.
So she was yelling and screaming at you, and the child started crying. Is that correct?
She was yelling from outside my door, Dilara, Dilara, are you okay?
Okay. Did she have any reason to believe Delara was not okay?
No, she just
Was Delara crying before she heard her mom screaming? And
no,
getting
she
up at
was
the-
like kind of shocked. She asked me, "What is somebody there?" Then we went upstairs.
Okay. All right. Now, does she have any history of this kind of stalking or harassing behavior?
Yes, she did this in the past, and she forced herself into my house twice.
Have there been times when she has blocked you into parking spots in public places?
Yes, she did.
Has she sent you any text messages admitting that she is a bit obsessive?
Yes.
If I show you this text message, can I see it? Can I see it?
You can see it.
Yes.
Hold on just a second. Mr. Howard, you in the courtroom.
I don't know if it's showing up on y'all's end, but it looks like the audio doesn't sync with the video. Sorry. I'm not sure what's going on. At least we got the good audio.
Let me make certain that Mr. Salt in the courtroom. All right, because she's not here, I'm going to dismiss this order of protection.
This is a different case.
We're going to get you an order in just a second. This gentleman up here needs to talk to you for just a second. So, Mr. Robinson, if you want to talk to Mr. Howard, Barrett, stay with us because I'm going to give you an order dismissing this case so you can take it with you, okay? Put on the failure to prosecute. All right, I'm sorry.
Did you get a chance to review that text message?
Yes, I did.
And who is that text message from?
Miss Hubble,
And what day
September 16,
Please.
of what year?
2011.
Okay. And what did she say in that text message?
All right, why are we looking at a 2011 text message?
Just to show that this has been a history of harassment and that it's only escalated from the time that this has been filed, Your Honor.
I beg your pardon?
If there's such a long history, she should have something. This is a totally different part in our lives.
Well,
Thanks, Jeannie. That's nice of you. You are generous.
I'll allow it, but let's move through. We've got a courtroom
Yes,
full of
sir.
people.
What does that text message say?
It says I'm a...
I don't need you to read it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
What does that text message say?
Should I read it?
No, it's not necessary. I've already read it.
Okay. All right. Is that indicative of how Ms. Hubble's behavior has been to you for a period of time?
Yes, and that is how she has been continuing. Even though we are not together, we are not a couple, but she still acts like we are a couple, and I feel controlled by her.
Recently, has she said anything to you that has made you think there's a possibility she might try to harm you?
Yes.
Do you see that piece of paper in front of you?
Yes, I have an email here.
Can you identify what that is?
Yes, an email from Ms. Hubble dated February 4th, 2015.
Okay. And can you please read the highlighted portion of that email?
For the past few days since you have been holding Dilara hostage, I have been kind of fantasizing about sitting on your chest and punching you in the face over and over and over again, like Ralph did, but in my imagination. I only punch you with my right fist.
There's a Christmas Story reference. That's different.
I will not lay a hand on you. This is much better than wanting you dead like I did 2.5 years ago. If I have any true violent urges, I will go on medication before I act on them. I will never allow myself to hurt you physically, and I will never hurt you emotionally like you are hurting me.
All right, anything else, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor, just one more email.
Thanks.
Has Ms. Hubble continued to send you emails or texts or correspondences that indicate she's interested in a romantic relationship of some sort?
Yes, she did many of those.
Do you have an email in front of you?
There is this email.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And who is that email from?
It's from Ms. Hubble.
And in that email,
What's the date on it, please?
March 6, 2015.
All right.
and in that email, does Ms. Hubble list a variety of lyrics from different love songs?
Yes, I believe she sends me songs. Yes, there's a highlighted section here.
And I believe it's the first paragraph of that email, does Ms. Hubble reference the fact that this could be evidence of harassment?
I can read the highlighted part. You can forward this to Sarah if you want, but Constitution of State of Tennessee says free communication of thought and opinion is one of the invaluable rights of man. If you want to submit this email as
I don't need to hear all of this.
Okay. All right, Your Honor. Lastly, has Ms. Hubble ever accused you of any kind of physical or mental abuse before this case began?
She talks about emotional abuse. She thinks I'm emotionally abusing her.
Has she accused you of being emotionally abusive prior to this lawsuit?
Yes, I believe she did.
Okay, and was that in relation to your daughter
Yes.
and the fact that you did not want to be in a relationship with her?
Yes.
Have you ever physically abused Ms. Hubble in any way?
No.
Is it your desire?
Yeah, that was a veiled threat. She came and said exactly what she thought, and then she got to realizing what she was saying and tried to clean it up some. But yeah, that's not normal.
That you and Ms. Hubble stay as far apart as possible?
Yes, I would like her to stay away from me. Yes.
No further questions.
All right, thank you. Ms. Hubble, I'm going to treat you like an attorney. I'll give you an opportunity to ask some questions. Please stay on point, though, and don't testify from the podium. I'll give you an opportunity to come to the witness stand and explain your side of this.
All right, thank you.
All right, you may ask.
Isn't it true that you filed this order for protection the day after I filed a motion to clarify the parenting schedule and another motion for contempt?
I was at the court. I didn't know you were filing anything, but you told me you will be filing something. But I was already at the court. I didn't know about it.
And in that, the phone recording you referred to, wasn't this about arguing over me having parenting time with Delora in the summer?
Yeah.
Well, you were just yelling at me.
Didn't I ask you, out of 10 weeks of summer vacation, how much time during, since Delora you stopped me from homeschooling, so during summer break, and I asked you how much out of the 10 weeks did you plan to give me? And, sorry.
All right. You need to ask kind of relatively simple, straightforward questions, okay? We can't have long, convoluted questions.
Okay. Isn't it true that you told me that you would only allow me to have 1 week and 3 days out of the 10 weeks of summer vacation to have her during the day while you were working?
It could be. If you came up with the plan, you tell me I want to do this with the child, I will let you.
Both of you. Ma'am, he doesn't set the summer parenting time, the court does.
Yes, and I have a copy of the DVD. There was not a written order other than during the school, I think,
Right,
Judge.
well, I'm not going to let you interpret the order, but if you're unhappy with your summer parenting time, you file a motion.
And that's what I did. It's going to be heard tomorrow. It's going to be heard tomorrow.
Then you'll have an opportunity to hear it tomorrow. We don't need to deal with it
Okay.
today.
Well, I was just saying that we just need clarification. The judge basically told us to work out the summer.
Right.
Okay, all right. Let me move on. Sorry. What threats have I made against your safety other than me referring to the bully in the Christmas Story video?
You used to send me text messaging saying that I must.
Since the beginning of this litigation, the last year.
Well, we just heard.
I was thinking the same thing. He was doing that, moving around constantly. That's what I do, and I got to go. I get to the gas station, have to go, and I'll sit there pumping gas, walking around, and
heard an email about you punching him in the face.
I'm asked, is this the only thing where somebody was saying?
I don't remember anything else.
Okay.
But let me explain to you, ma'am, the basis of an order of protection can be threats of physical violence, but it can also be harassing, it can be stalking, it can be damage to property, so it's not just saying I'm going to kill you or saying I'm going to beat you up, you understand?
I understand.
All right, go ahead, please.
Out of these binders, how much of that is not related to Delara or parenting schedule or discovery for our trial? Is there anything in there that's not directly related to Delara or parenting?
There are yes, you asked for being in a relationship, you want to...
Can I see that?
No, we're not going there.
Okay, all right, let's just forget that then. You said that you had the child support check in your pocket the night of the 31st.
Yes.
And because I yelled at you, you decided to not give it to me.
I forgot. Actually, I was planning to give it to you.
And that's typically what you do. If it's the last time.
Excuse me, you can't testify, you can ask questions.
Okay, sorry.
Excuse me, when is the child support due?
It's due on the 1st.
Well, then, it wasn't necessary for him to give it to you that night, was it?
Well, customarily, he gives it to me the day, last day he sees me.
But in this instance, he could have waited till the next day, and there's nothing
Yes, he
wrong
could
with
have.
that, isn't that right?
He could have, except I was going to be going out of town, and I wouldn't have gotten it till the 5th.
All right, but then that would have been, as you're doing, you would have chosen...
Okay, let me just, Your Honor, I set myself up for this thing. I acknowledge that. I yelled at him, and, but I would like, I don't believe I threatened him. I'd like to give you a copy of the...
I'd like to hear your side of this.
Okay.
So I'm going to let you step down, sir. Ma'am, come around here, because I know there's...
Your Honor, I have just a few, sorry. I have just a few more questions, very specific,
All right,
important
then ask
questions.
those
Okay, I'm going to ask
questions.
only these. Okay.
And get along with it.
Okay. Didn't you testify during the custody trial that you're in good physical health?
Yes.
Is it true that you are nearly a foot taller than me?
Yes.
Do you think you're stronger than me?
Yes.
Isn't it true that you play soccer regularly?
Yes.
Do you think you have quick reflexes? He says he is afraid, he said he is afraid of me. I want to show that he's not afraid of me. He's
Well,
lying.
let me say, the court will take judicial notice that he's bigger than you,
Okay.
All right. I'll let you step down. Come around, ma'am. I'd like to hear your side of this, please.
Yeah.
All right, Ms. Hubble, let me tell you what I'm concerned about. I'm not here to decide this dispute between you and he over custody of this child, not even here to determine parenting time or child support. Those are things that are under the purview of the juvenile court. What I am here to determine is whether or not you're stalking or harassing this gentleman or threatening him. I'll tell you the things that I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about the number of correspondence, emails, text messages that he's testified to. He testified to me one day you sent him 20 text messages or phone calls. Have you made phone calls that often to him on occasion?
I did that night because I'd like to tell you the whole story that night.
All right, well, I want to hear that, but the answer to my question is yes, you have done that. I'm assuming,
Yes.
Were you trying to call him or text him?
I was making phone calls and,
Was he taking your calls?
well, my daughter answered one of them and I started getting concerned about her because she was saying, it's Lydia, and he took the phone and hung up and then she answered another time.
So these were efforts to communicate with him by telephone?
Yes.
And would he take the calls? Would he answer the phone?
I have an email I sent him after I yelled at him. I have an email apologizing to him. And I'd like to.
Wait a minute, you're missing my point. Was he refusing
No,
to
she's
take
not.
the
Yes.
calls?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Now,
apparently.
wouldn't that have sent a message to you that he didn't want to talk to you?
Well, it did, but I think he should have said that because when he calls me, especially when I've got the child, I don't just not. I will at least let her talk to him, even if I say I don't want to talk to you, I'm upset.
Okay.
And
Help me with this. On the night, was this the night you came to his house?
yes.
And how long did you sit out in front of his house?
Well, I live in Antioch and he lives in West Nashville,
Answer
and
my question. We'll move right through this. How long did
I'm
you
not
sit out in front of his
I'm not
house?
exactly sure. I just waited.
more than an hour?
Yeah, I went straight there, so it was probably 2 hours, 2.5 before I got there.
All right, and when he went into the home, did you come out and get out of the car and knock on the door or ring
Yes,
the
I
doorbell?
did.
And did you go around and tap on windows trying to get his attention?
Well, when I went to the front door, because I was concerned about Delara and what was going on, because she tried to answer the phone and then she started yelling, stop it, and I didn't know
Tennessee.
what was going on, and then when I got to his house, I didn't know if he was, because I'd sent him an email saying, you know, I'm sorry, and let me apologize to you for yelling, because I'm working with my...
My question was, did you tap on the windows to the house?
Well, at first, I just went to the front door, and nobody answered, and I didn't know if they were just in the back of the house and didn't hear me, and I went to my car, and I checked, I said, well, if he wants me to leave, he'll tell me to leave. And I checked my phone to make sure he hadn't sent me a text message that says, please leave, I don't want to talk to you.
But now,
And he did.
under what?
Thanks, I'm murdering your name, and I'm going to apologize up front. Besa Menta? I'm sorry. I know I'm saying it wrong. I'm not good with names. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Circumstance, would you have thought after the afternoon you'd had in exchanging the child and you waiting out in front of the house for some extended period of time and him not taking your calls, under what circumstance did you think he wanted you to still be out in front of his house and knocking on the door?
Well, I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I beg your pardon?
I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
I didn't want to think he's such a jerk, because I sent him an email while I was sitting there, and I was
Other than go
apologizing.
to the back door, did you tap on any of the windows?
Well, I was going to...
That's a yes or no question.
I went to the back door, and then I knocked on his bedroom as I was walking back around the house.
Knocked on the bedroom window?
Yeah, it was on
Thanks.
the way. I knocked on the back door in his bedroom on the way back, and then when I was coming in front of the garage, my daughter was in. I heard my daughter scream. I mean, she was just wailing.
Did you call for a wellness check?
Yes.
Ask Metro Police come to the house?
After I heard my daughter screaming, I did. I was very concerned.
All right, Counsel, you may ask.
Oh, goodness.
Your Honor, I don't think, Lydia, have you admitted in the past to being slightly obsessive when it comes to Mr. Greider?
Obsessive, and I'm obsessive about a lot of things. When I focus on it, something's important to me. So I'm not sure what you mean by
Have you
obsessive.
specifically said that you're obsessive when it comes to Mr. Greider?
I'm not sure if I'm sure I can be about. I'm very obsessive right now about the court case.
Are you under the care of a psychologist or a psychiatrist?
I've been seeing a therapist for 4 years, trying to help me
Are you
deal
on
with.
any medication?
I take Adderall for ADHD.
Who is your therapist?
John Lewis, and he did send a letter.
Yeah, I don't have any further questions.
All right, I'll let you step in.
Can I say one more thing? Is the only contact I've had with him over the past year is related to my child, and I feel like he's using this to give him an advantage in the court case, but I really don't want to talk. I really don't want.
Let me explain. Of course he's using it to get an advantage in the court case because you're laying it out and making it so easy.
I know.
Come around and have a seat if you will. The court is going to issue this order of protection, counsel. Ms. Hubble, the court finds that you have stalked and harassed Mr. Gilder. So you've done the things that are set forth in the petition.
Is she single?
All right, I'm going to order that you not attempt to purchase or possess one. I'm going to order that you stay away from his home, his place of business. I'm going to order that you have no communication with him whatsoever, meaning text message, cell phones, emails, any means of communication. Don't send him a letter. Don't send him flowers. Don't tell him you're sorry. He doesn't want to hear any of those things.
Priscilla, thank you very much. That's very, very generous of you. I sure do appreciate it.
He wants you to leave him alone, and I'm ordering that. I'm going to order that you not mention his name on the social media anywhere, and you make no threats about him. on the social media anywhere, at any time. I am unfortunately having to put this child under the order of protection, which means that you're to have no contact with this child either.
Oh, Lord.
So that's an unfortunate thing, but I will order Mr. Gilder to immediately notify you of any medical emergency involving the child. He can do that either by telephone or text message, whatever is the fastest way. If this child has a medical emergency, he will advise you of the circumstance of the child's condition and where the child will be receiving treatment. You will be allowed to go to that location and communicate with the healthcare professionals only, not with Mr. Gilbert.
Thanks, Peach. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that y'all enjoy. I really am. It makes it all worthwhile. Thank you very much.
So, what that means is no contact whatsoever. Now, I want you to understand what I was trying to tell you at the beginning of this hearing. If you violate this, and he swears out a violation warrant, then that is a misdemeanor. It carries up to 11 months and 29 days in jail. And they're treating violations of order of protection very seriously. If you're in jail, you can't have even a reasonable opportunity to have any contact with the child. Do you understand? I'm putting this order of protection in place for a year. As far as I'm concerned, this
Thanks, Lady Sky. I sure do appreciate it. Y'all are awesome.
Supersedes a juvenile court order, which means there's not going to be any parenting time until such time as this court changes the order.
6.
That'll be the judgment of the court.
Yeah, I apologize, Senator. May I also ask that she also not reference Delara's dad on Facebook? That's what it's been recently. Not his name, but Delara's dad.
Well, let me say, I'm not going to put that down. If juvenile court wants to do it, that's their order, and I would strongly advise this lady, if she wants to have any credibility in juvenile court, she try to obey the juvenile court order. But I'm sorry, Ms. Hubble, but as I was saying earlier, you're the master of your own destruction here. You cannot talk on the phone that way to people, yell and scream at them. You can't force yourself to calm down by coming to their home, sitting out in front of it. You can't beat on their doors or beat on their windows. You're not allowed to do those things. If you do, you're absolutely going to go to jail. I'm sorry you have this problem, but you really need to get some help for it. I'm going to request that you wait in the courtroom. Once Mr. Gilder and counsel get their copies of the order of protection, I'm going to ask you to stay in the courtroom at least 10 minutes to give them an opportunity to exit the building. Counsel, once y'all get your orders, y'all move on down the hall, if you will.
I would also ask, Your Honor, that
Gloria, thanks for the memberships. You're awesome. I sure do appreciate it.
that perhaps the order be modifiable by a final order in juvenile court. We do have one final day of trial coming up, and I would ask that this be taken into consideration in juvenile court, but then if they believe supervised visitation or something like that is appropriate.
My order stands. Ms. Hubble can always file a motion after the juvenile court order, and the court will be happy to consider it. But right now, somewhere, someplace, it needs to dawn on her that she can't behave this way. If you do, there are repercussions. So, if you'll be kind enough to have a seat in the back of the courtroom, ma'am.
Thank you.
I beg your pardon, to the Tennessee Court of Appeals. It certainly is.
Yeah. I missed this. I kind of put this together late this afternoon. I was trying to figure out what to do.
All right, let me go back.
Okay. So, a couple things. Number one, again, I need y'all's help. Someone please come up with a great name for this video. I used one of y'all's suggestions yesterday, and that's what I'll do this evening. I'm awful at naming these things. So if y'all can come up with a great name, that's what I'll use, okay? Second, I'm starting to feel kind of sorry for the lady. I think she needs help. Excuse me. She needs help. The next thing is there is a good bit of court cases with this lady. Hours. there's about an hour or so in 2014 when the first kind of got going. And then this is from 2015. There's stuff from 17 and 18. Y'all tell me what you think. If you'd be interested in hearing some more, I can do that as well. I don't know if I'd put it all together. It might get a little much, but I would sort of over time work it in. Y'all think about it. Let me know what you think. I don't understand why she's so dead on it. It's as if she's got to control things, and that's a problem. This is the next case I could find with her, and again, this is June 18th of 2015.
I did have it. It's restored back. Okay, Guider and Hubble.
Y'all are good at this.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
Your Honor, this is my motion. I want to say good afternoon to you too.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm glad.
I would like, if you're ready to,
As a preliminary matter, Your Honor, a lot has happened since the last hearing which make these motions no longer relevant, including an order of protection against Ms. Hubble. There was an incident on May 30th.
Hold on a second. Let me call the docket first. This is we are here on the motion docket. We have with us Ms. Rice, who is representing Mr. Guider. We've got Ms. Hubble, who is the mother on this matter. We have Ms. Vanilla Mitchell, who is the guardian ad litem. We do not have Ms. Pomack. I understand that she was not available for court today and indicated to the parties that she would not be able to be here, would be here, able to come next week if we needed a hearing on this matter.
If we do need a hearing, I'm happy to reset, but I don't think that we will based on.
isn't this a hearing? Isn't that what
This is the appearance docket for the motion hearing. I would not have actual motions unless they were very brief motions on the hearing docket, because since it's appearance docket, all the cases that need a motion for a rehearing or motion something gets set on today's docket, and if it needs a lengthy portion of time, it gets reset for an actual hearing date.
And how do you determine whether it's lengthy or not?
I just know y'all are lengthy, so I would mind. I could just tell by the filings and like the child support ones are very quick, and so we just pick trial dates for them and do quick rehearings. This one is lengthy.
And how does it work with the motion hearings and the big trial? How do they fit?
Yeah, that usually I like to tell parties as well as attorneys that it doesn't really help to file motions in between trial dates, because it doesn't really, it kind of bogs down the issues, and most of the time if a new motion is filed, it'll just get set with the actual hearing that's already going forward.
This was very time sensitive because, as you recall, at the end of the
there's some up to within the last couple of years. Let me watch and see which is better, the 14 or the 16 or 17, and we'll kind of do that next, and we'll go from there. And she's got a lot of voicemails and recorded telephone conversations that I haven't even started to look at. So.
Our last day of trial, it was in the summer, and you basically just said y'all just work things out for the summer, but you didn't want to give me more than the 2 overnights. But you apparently gave him the impression, because he's put in sworn statements, that you gave him temporary custody, and he told me I could only have 1 week and 3 days of the entire 10-week summer vacation, even though the guardian ad litem before we left said she thought I should exercise time with Delara during the summer. Since she's not available, I lost over 800 hours of what had been my parenting time during the school year because he forced her into public school.
Objection.
That's a non-issue.
And if
I can understand her being hot about it. I would be very emotional too, but until she realizes that what she's doing is causing the problem, she's not going to be able to get help.
Yeah, if I may, Your Honor, there's an order of protection keeping Ms. Hubble from even seeing the child that was put into place by circuit court yesterday.
Oh, wow. Let me see that.
Okay. And if I may, the incident occurred on May 31st when Ms. Hubble showed up at his home. He asked her not to. He waited 2 hours before he got to his home. She was still there. Called for a police escort. She waited another hour. He went inside with the child. She went around back to his doors, was pounding on all his doors and windows. The child was hysterical. This order of protection was filed in circuit court. We went yesterday.
The mom's on the right with the, I think you'd call that blue. My wife always tells me, no, it's not blue, it's green or something. I don't know. I can't do colors either.
For the hearing, Ms. Hubble in court admitted that yes, she called him 19 times in one day, and yes, she continues to post on Facebook in violation of Magistrate Robertson, Magistrate Rosenberg, and Your Honor's orders for her not to do so. She also admitted that yes, she pounded on his windows and doors. At that time, Judge Robinson put an order of protection in place, not only covering Mr. Guider, but also covering the child. I told the judge at that point in time that if that was not our intention and asked that he make the order modifiable by the juvenile court and explain to him that this trial was still pending and we had a final date set. His response was, no, she hasn't learned her lesson. She brought this upon herself. My order is as it stands. She can file a motion if she wants to once juvenile court comes up with a permanent plan.
No, that's not what he said.
Well, it is, and she's admitted as such on Facebook, Your Honor.
Okay.
Since that hearing, she has also gone on Facebook and said she's now going to call everyone that father knows to make them aware of the situation.
Objection, that is not true. I did not say that.
All right. Bottom line, Ms. Hubble, you did or did not go to get a order of protection against you yesterday and the child. That's a yes or no
He
question.
did that in retaliation.
Yes, that's a yes or no question.
That's what you're supposed to do. You see how well it's working for him. I don't think, I'm not sure why she doesn't have an attorney. She may not can afford one. That is a real problem. But this is why so many times, and Mike always points it out, when your lawyer's talking and handle it, keep your mouth shut. They know what they're doing.
Is there an order of protection against you?
I have no contact with Laura for 1 year.
Okay.
I am totally,
All right.
totally.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset all these motions that are on the trial date. We'll come back and finish everything at the trial date.
Cool. 86 in the snow. Wow, there's still snow and it's 86 degrees. That ought to be something. Thank you, Nicole.
Could you please at least tell me if you granted him sole physical and sole legal custody?
It doesn't really matter now. You have joint custody, and I was going to make a determination of who was going to be the...
Jason, man, 20 memberships. That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Residential, we were making the determination of who was the primary residential parent or the alternate residential parent. That probably is going to be moot when we come back to court in August, but we'll see.
Year. But the reason I filed this motion is because this all started because
I'm gonna hear it all on the
28th of August.
28th of August.
In the meantime, father wants to make sure that he is okay to go forward and sign the child up for school in his neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Okay. And do I need to file a separate motion for a stop order on child support, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay.
Because that would have to go back downstairs.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah. I think we got one more case. Actually, I got it written on a piece of paper. Because I can't remember nothing. Oh, I went the wrong shirt on.
Number 50, Sinai Guider versus...
Okay, this is one more case that happened in 2015. I can't remember when, but this is the case in succession.
Lydia Hubble.
Everybody involved in this matter, please come forward.
Yeah. Les. Oh, that is so cool. 4 pound, 15 ounce. Dang it, it moved. Healthy baby girl. That's so good. That is so good. It's awesome having grandkids. I agree 110%. That's great. Congratulations.
All right, Ms. Hubble, raise your right hand. Face my court officer, please.
This is the same year.
All right, Ms. Hubble, tell me what you're asking the court to do. This, you are the respondent in this matter, is that right?
JoJo, thanks for the memberships. I sure do appreciate it.
You were the person against whom the order of protection was being sought?
Yes.
All right. What are you asking me to do today?
I would like to have you reconsider your decision, and most importantly, I would like for you.
Wow, Jason. Another 20? It's going to be completely green here pretty soon. Thank y'all so much.
You to remove my daughter from the order of protection. I have some, I brought some evidence today that I think you should consider.
Agree.
And also, I would like to, well, I'd like for you to reconsider
That's
it
awesome.
altogether because my daughter's been over 120 days without seeing me. She was for her whole life. I was a primary residential parent, and her dad decided that when she was old enough to go to school, he was going to take her out of my life, and that's what he's done. I haven't had any money for an attorney.
Well, Ms. Hubble, now, I went back and got the narration on this about what allegedly happened, and now I remember this case. You say he took the child out of your life, but this behavior is outrageous. I mean, you go around beating on the doors and windows of his home.
Your Honor, I have, he was lying, and I have a copy of the emergency call.
We had a hearing on that.
Yes, we did, but he was lying.
Well, as far as the court's concerned, I heard what there was to be heard, and I found there was a basis for this order of protection. The most the court would possibly do would be considering allowing you to have some parenting time. But, you know, to be real honest, I'm not so sure that I wouldn't want you to have some type of an evaluation before I do it. I'm not going to put this. How old is this child?
Her birthday was yesterday. She's 7 years old.
I don't know that I'm going to put a small child in the possession, even if it's for a little bit, of a person that I'm concerned about their judgment. I mean, your judgment in this seems to me to be pretty terrible.
Well,
this is, sorry, I should have let y'all know. This is the exact same people, the same mother and father. And she just admitted in that case we just watched that, yes, she was knocking on the windows. She admitted to doing all that. Now she's back in and saying to the same judge, she really needs help. She really does.
He claims they're harassing him, multiple telephone calls.
Yeah.
As you said, it's the bite of the, whoever gets to present their proof first. They've lied from the beginning. I've got proof that he lied to you, and it is true I went to his house, but it's not true that I've disregarded all of the orders in the juvenile court. It's not true that they didn't have...
why would you go to his house? Wasn't he exercising parenting time with the child?
What happened was...
All right, listen to my question. Wasn't he exercising parenting time with this child?
I'm wanting to say the last one was in June, and this is in August, October. So it's been a few months. It's bizarre. You know, she was there. She knows what happened and what happened, and then now turn around and say it didn't. And to the same judge that just listened to it. It's out there. I feel for her.
Yes, he was.
Y'all had just exchanged the child, and then you follow him over to his house.
No, I did not. I
You
did not
didn't-
follow him to
You
his
didn't go
house.
to the house when he had the child there. He'd just gotten the child that day, correct?
We had, well,
Listen to
I
my
had just
question.
dropped him,
Excuse me, he had gotten the child that day,
yes.
and then you're over there within a relatively short period of time beating on the door.
I was not beating on the door.
Okay.
And I sent.
We can all disagree about that, but that's what the court found.
Well, that's what he swore in his affidavit, just like he's sworn in many affidavits, things that I've got proof that he's lying about.
Mm-hmm.
He told you that my daughter, the reason, I was the one that was respecting the court order. We had joint decision-making authority, and I was supposed to be able to exercise parenting time with my daughter during the summer. And I had right of first refusal. If he signed her up for a summer camp, I had the right, as her parent, who has priority over third parties, to have time with that child. I could have gone and picked her up. He could have dropped her off. I could have picked her up and had her for the day and then dropped her off with him for his parenting time. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to get one.
Let me advise you, ma'am. I'm not going to change this. It's probable that I'm not going to change this at all. On the other hand, I'm sure not going to change it without the father being here. I don't know why he's not here. I'm concerned that he didn't get proper notice on this.
I hand-delivered the notice to his attorney.
That's not why that's supposed to work.
He's delaying this. Sarah Rice.
I don't know.
Thank Ms. Glow. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. Welcome.
I know that Ms. Rice still represents him. When did you give him the notice? And when did you give her the notice?
Monday. They were supposed to be here
Monday of this week?
Yeah, actually it was last Friday because I was trying to schedule this. And
Well, here's the point. The reason when you file a motion, it's heard 2 weeks later is to try to give people an opportunity. This says that it was a certified copy foregoing motion by fax to the Davidson County Sheriff's Department. So what is his connection with the Davidson County Sheriff's Department?
what he has done is,
Listen to my question. He's not a deputy sheriff, is he?
I'm not sure what that is, but I can tell you what he's
What
done.
does he do for a living?
He's a computer programmer. He's got his own business. He works from home.
Well, then you know he doesn't work for the Davidson County Sheriff's Department. Do you know why this was faxed to the Davidson County Sheriff's Department?
Well, I'm trying to tell you what he did after the night I went to his house.
That's excuse me, ma'am, that's neither here nor there.
Well, you're just asking me. I'm not sure what he had me.
Stop talking, please, for just a second. The purpose of a motion is whether I would alter or amend this order. I'm not going to set aside the order of protection. I would consider you having some parenting time. Have you been under the care of any type of counselor or psychologist in the last 6 months?
I have been under therapy for 4.5 years to help me deal with this abusive relationship with my daughter's dad. Yes, I was there last Friday, as a matter of fact.
Who is your therapist?
John Lewis. I have a letter from him that he emailed to.
And what is, do you know what his education is? Psychologist, psychiatrist, you know what?
Psychiatric nurse practitioner. And I have a copy of a letter that he emailed to Sarah Rice back when this all started. This is dated June 27th. He said he's been seeing me since May 7, 2011. He said
Lisa, thanks for the memberships. That's awesome. Glad you made it.
Been exceptionally compliant with treatment. I'm a devoted and caring mother, and he's seen me on multiple occasions with my daughter. And I'm a competent, nurturing parent that shows no overt limitations in her ability to raise Delara. He says, I further see her as capable.
Listen to me carefully, Ms. Hubble. I'm going to reset your motion for 2 weeks. I'm going to issue an order requiring both you and Mr. what's his name, Gilder, to be here on that date. That'll be the 30th.
October 30th?
October the 30th. And the court is going to give you an opportunity if you can get your counselor here, if you can get a current letter from him saying you don't represent a threat of harm, that you'll comply in his opinion with all court orders. I will give you an opportunity to put on that proof, and I'll consider giving you some parenting time with this child.
Okay.
But please listen to me. I'm not going to tolerate behavior. So whatever adjustment you need to make in your thinking pattern, you need to make that, because if I did that and something like this were to happen again, just kiss it goodbye. I'm not going to put a child in a tornado, and that's what this sounds like to me.
Well, as I said, it was misrepresented.
I understand that you feel like the court made the wrong decision, but I heard what I heard, and in my opinion, that his testimony was consistent with what he put in this, and there was no reason for you to be at that man's house while he's trying to exercise parenting time. You want to dispute that, all you're doing is making your situation harder. If you think it's okay for you to come to the other parent's house anytime you want to.
I never did do that. I never did.
You weren't even there.
No, I was there because I was trying.
Don't say any more, because all you're doing is making the situation a little worse.
Can I?
No, ma'am, we've done all we're going to do.
Okay, referring to this letter you said.
Come back October the 30th and try to get something from your therapist that says he believes you'll be compliant with the court's orders, that you can properly take care of the child, that at this stage you would not harass or stalk the other party in this case. Those are the things I'm concerned about.
Okay. So you wouldn't consider that if I brought in a signed letter, you wouldn't consider that? I mean, I know they would object to it as hearsay.
We'll have to see.
Okay, so you would be willing to overrule their objection if I have a...
I'll be willing to consider it, ma'am.
Thank you.
Now, Ms. Barnes, Ms. Hubble, write down on a piece of paper your mailing address. We're going to mail you a copy of the order setting this.
Okay.
So, I'm going to be sure that we've got your exact mailing address in your handwriting so that we can send you a copy of this.
Okay. And can I tell you what happened in juvenile court? So we're going to be back in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Thank you.
She says Mr. Freeman no longer represents her. So we'll do our own order for today's hearing where she said Mr. Freeman doesn't represent her. And we'll get a copy of all of this from Ms. Rice so that she can notify her client. Ms. Hubble, come back in 2 weeks. We'll see if we can do anything for you, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good weekend. All right, do we have any other matters?
Yeah, I caught the middle case where they were going for the protection order first and got to looking and found the others. I'll see if I can't go from here in succession. The very first case is where she's wanting to homeschool the child and the father doesn't think it's a good idea. That's how all of this started. And, well, you can kind of see where it is now. I'll see if I can't find the next couple and try to do it all in order. I tell you, I'm back and forth on, is she just incapable of telling the truth, or has she really got a problem with the real world? Yeah, I agree, Griggs. Guardian ad litem is what needs to happen. Absolutely. So that they can get a little deeper into what's happening. You know, just from what we've seen, she has a problem with the reality. The father, so far, he sounds okay, you know, but that's, you know, just a little bit what we've seen here. But I feel for that little girl. Even, you know, so basically she's been a few months without her child, no visitation whatsoever, and that's going to be hard on that little girl too, which I hate. I really hate that. But we got to think about, it's like I always say, is the child. That's the most important thing. If mom and dad are upset, well, too bad. Got to do what's right for the child. Well, I'll see if I can't put it together and get the next couple of going. And as soon as I can get that together, we'll watch it some more. I sure do appreciate y'all coming by, and I hope y'all have a great evening.